Well, hello everybody and welcome to day 23 of the YouTube Advent Hop, which is presented by my Facebook page, Live Art Journaling and Self-Development. The link for the Facebook page is in below, and if you want to take part in all the other videos, we have 13 contributors, then please do add yourself onto the Facebook page and find the pinned post. Today I thought we'd do a little bit of winter art, and you're not going to need that many bits of equipment. You're going to need a bit of old blank paper, some bits of cardboard and some acrylic paints in a variety of colours. I really love the sunsets at this time of year, those kind of rich pinks and oranges and purples, and so you're going to need some colours in that sort of hue. And we're going to talk about the exact colours that I use later on, but essentially a purple, a blue, yellow, orange, a couple of shades of pink. And also I like to use blackboard paint as my black. This is because it dries matte. I really like that kind of matte finish. You'll need some gesso and you'll also need some masking tape. This is an old rag. I love to use an old rag to soften all my background colours up, and you'll see how I do that later on in the video. So let's grab that bit of cardboard and we're going to cut it down to size. You want a square. I haven't put exact measurements up here because it really is dependent on what you can grab your hands on. This is an old bit of packaging that I got. It's Christmas time, you know, lots of deliveries at the moment, so I'm reusing a bit of old rubbish. Take your masking tape and we're going to mask out a border. There's something really beautiful that happens when you paint onto cardboard and then reveal that edging. Again, something you'll see later. I feel I'm going to keep saying that throughout this whole video. So we mask that area up, and then I'm going to get my spatula and some gesso. I love to use a really good quality thick gesso. I'm going to get that and I'm going to spread this all over like you're buttering your toast. If you don't have a spatula, you can use an old credit card. You can of course use a paintbrush. I just love the finish that you get when you use a flat object to pop gesso onto a surface. You get these lovely ridges which end up being part of your background. Now, as with all projects where you're using gesso, this does need time to dry, and really to dry quite well. So pop it on a radiator. If you're going to use your heat gun, do, but dry the back of it as well. So here's me grabbing my paints and lining them all up, and I'm going to go through later on section by section and tell you where they all go. We're going to start with purple, and we put a great big blob right down on our substrate, then some dark pink, then some orange, moving on to yellow and pink, dark pink, then some blue and purple, which we're going to put right next to each other. So blue and turquoise, they go in a line. So I've taken a photo of this for you. In between, you can see me painting on my bit of paper. Little tip to the wise, people who are going to join the Facebook page. From January, we're going to be doing a junk journal project. And you're going to need your excess paint scrap papers. That's what I call them. So I always have a bit of paper to hand. So there's the layout of all of the paints, as you can see. So I'm using Dilutions paints. You want to use a paint that doesn't dry too quick. You now get the edge of a bit of scrap cardboard and just pull and drag. You need to have a bit of weight down to drag those paints across, and you're going to start getting the beginnings of your sunset. Now then what I'm going to do is grab my cloth And I'm going to be smooching the colours into each other, and I do them in sections, changing my muslin as I go, because I don't want to muddy all these colours up. So every 2 colours I change my muslin. So here's the purple and the pink that I'm sort of smooching out, and in a minute I change my finger, get a cleaner piece of the cloth, and I'm going to smooch that orange and yellow together. And then right at the end, I'm going to go back over and I'm going to smooch the bands of colours in between those smooches. There's the technical term, smooch. That's your technical term for the whole day. So once you've blended all the colours, they should be a little bit drier, and so you can grab your cloth and sort of go over the whole thing without muddying it too much. Don't be tempted to go up and down, as you can see on that right hand side. I've done that on the masking tape. So now let's get decorating. We're going to draw a couple of stars and a moon, and I like to start with a pale blue. This gives everything a sort of little dark shadow around it. Again, I'm using a chalk paint here. They're nice and matte, and I find that it means that they stand out a little bit against that acrylic background. So very, very simple decoration on this one. I'm not going into too much detail, but a couple of stars in the sky and a moon. And now I'm going to go back over the whole thing with some white gesso. Gesso again will dry matte, and I just really love the contrast between the shiny acrylic and the matte chalk paints. And you don't need to spend a lot of money on chalk paints. You can generally pick these up at a cheap crafting store. It never ceases to surprise me how something so simple can look so beautiful. We tend, whenever we get creative, to think that we have to get more and more invested in being brilliantly artistic, and actually just playing sometimes with colour can give the greatest outcomes. So I'm going to grab my chalkboard paint. This you can buy from most DIY stores. And we're going to paint a landscapey style picture to go over this lovely horizon that we've got going on. So a very simple hill going from left to right means that I can see all of my background that I've put in. And again, I'm getting that scrap piece of paper that I'm going to use in January on the Facebook page for my junk journal kit, just, getting rid of all that excess paint. One of the things that you want to bear in mind when you're working with cardboard as a substrate is that you want your paint to be quite dry. So one of the reasons that I'm choosing to use a bit of scrap paper to scruff all my paint out of my paintbrush is I don't want to keep putting my paintbrush in some water. So I've cut some strips of cardboard, and now I'm going to put a great big puddle of chalkboard paint onto a spare bit of cardboard, because I'm going to use this as like a palette, and I'm going to put paint on the edge of those strips of cardboard and use them to make the bark. Lots of people have struggles with drawing straight lines, and this is one of my cheat tips as to how to get some straight twiggy lines. Also, if you're using corrugated cardboard, watch out for the lovely pattern that you get when you print with the edge of corrugated cardboard. So onto the leaves. Again, nice dry brush. So I'm taking some paint, I'm scuffing it out on that bit of cardboard, and then I'm literally just patting onto the cardboard. I'm not painting, I'm patting straight lines. So left and right, straight lines, pat, 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 pat. Now might be a good time to mention that if you do subscribe to this channel, if you do head over to the Facebook page and join us and comment in the Advent feed, and also if you subscribe and comment on all of the videos that are part of the Advent Hop, you're in for winning one of 3 amazing prizes. So I'm going to head back to the colour board again, and I'm grabbing my dark pink. You could grab any one of the colours that you've used in your horizon, it would work. It's basically the light reflecting off of the trees. I'm such a lover of pink, I was always going to head for the pink, but you could put orange on them, you could put the purple on them, anything just to give a bit of depth to these trees. And then I'm going to head in with my gesso again, and I'm going to use that to add even more highlight. And again, all I'm doing with my brush is I'm drying it out. I'm taking a bit of paint, drying that out onto the cardboard, and then just patting it and moving left to right. There's no enormous skill going on here. In a minute, what you're going to see is I'm going to grab my Uniball white pen, and I'm going to grab my pink pen as well. I didn't actually video myself using the pink, but essentially I'm adding some scribbles over the top. Please remember the paint needs to be really dry before you add any pen work. You will damage your pens if you put them onto wet paint. So I'm just scribbling away, and then I'm going to add like some little grass tufts growing around the bottom of these wintry trees. Can you see how on the moon, having had that blue in the background, you just get that shadowy element? And now for the great reveal. I love doing this. So literally you peel back those masking tapes and you're left with this lovely picture. I often think it looks like somebody stuck a sticker on a bit of cardboard or like a tile. So now I grab my knife, you don't have to do this, and I run it down the side of that cardboard, but so gently. I'm literally sort of taking the top layer off, and I grab a pencil down the ridges of this corrugated cardboard, and you can only do this with corrugated cardboard, and I peel some of it off. I'm such a lover of texture, and it's just really lovely in the frame of this picture to have this sort of, I don't know, I'm going to call it crusty, but that sounds awful. These sort of crusty edges, which I will then take a bit of sandpaper. Once I've done 2 sides, I will take a bit of sandpaper and I'll go over that again and get rid of all the flaky bits. And you'll see when the whole piece is finished that it just adds that extra bit. I do hope that you'll head over to the Facebook page and come and see all of the other videos that have been part of this Advent hop. I can't believe it's day 23 already. I look forward to seeing you all on the Facebook page and saying hello to you, and maybe it'll be one of you that wins the prize. I'll see you all on the page. See you soon.